What you doing, baby?
Trying to get dirt from underneath these boards because we need airflow. Because as you can see, we seem to have a moisture issue, and the water isn't drying. So I don't want my she shed to fall down. So we need to dig this out without damaging the she shed.
How'd you discover it?
How what?
How did you discover it?
Yesterday when I was mudding inside, and then I took the vacuum and cleaned along the floor, I noticed that we don't have the shoe molding up there. It was all wet. I'm like, why should it be wet? We're in the middle. And that's when you said, I think we have a water issue, not enough airflow. You were smart to put rock down thinking that it would allow the water to run underneath from that corner. The downside is, along with the water came some mud, and the mud decided it needed to clog up the stone. And so now, here we are, and it's starting to snow, trying to get rid of our moisture problem so the she shed don't fall down.
And the solution seems to be more air rather than
air.
Right? I mean, there's no airflow. We sealed it off. Everything off so much that we actually sealed off, and so the moisture that's coming from even the groundwater is sitting there and pooling underneath the she shed, and there was no airflow. You can see over on the far side where there is lots of airflow, it looks like I just put it in, which I did. Then you look over here and look at this. That's black mold, ladies and gentlemen. That is not
But I'll tell
good.
you what, the mice,
they liked it.
love this.
Huge.
They found themselves some home.
Yep.
They got themselves some of our insulation from inside.
Yeah, you can't see it now, but in these boxes, the mice had houses in each one of those.
So, trying to break up this bedrock here. Get some airflow.
Woo, look at that snow, baby.
I know.
It's pretty.
Yep. Do you feel space under there now?
Yeah.
So good airflow?
Exactly. Just to create that airflow. We did I think, a darn good job under the porch. This, of course, we can't get to as well, but if you just get airflow, it'll help a lot.
Like I said, I made that mistake. I thought by putting the rock down, the rock, this 57, is designed to let water pass through it. But I blocked off all the air in the process. So it's dumb.
Focused on one problem and I created another.
That's where the electrical wire is.
Yeah, I can see the wire. I'm wondering if this is where the block is. Yeah, that's the block that the house is sitting on. Because that's bedrock right there.
If you go around to the back,
Yeah,
I've cleared it off. I mean,
nice.
but you can.
It looks nice. I mean, that I can actually, you see holes all the way around it.
This is where the shiwi is, so we need lots of ventilation for that. So it doesn't smell like alcohol.
Yeah, but this is where you're saying that this will continue to slough off and fill that gap, right?
Right.
Just from the erosion.
That's what I worry
I
about.
agree.
So,
Yeah, that's going to have to be something we can constantly paying attention to.
Like I said, we need to get under the shiwi, or lift the shiwi up and see how wet it is, damp it is on this corner. Because that's the reason to put this French drain in, but with the bedrock so high,
Yeah.
I'm not sure entirely how well the French drain is working.
I was gonna say that corner, I think the rest of the French drain is working. That corner is way too high.
Yeah.
I think we just need to take the tractor on a non-snowy, on a
Yeah.
day. I think we just focus on this first thing.
You know, the truth of the matter is when we get the excavator for the pond, we may need like a heavier equipment than the tractor.
Even the tractor.
To actually dig that bedrock up.
Yeah, I'd prefer just doing it with a backhoe. I think we could get closer to the building.
Right.
All right, so what we got here is a new problem. We have had an issue recently, just over the last couple weeks, with feral hogs, wild boar, something. They are tearing up the pastures. This is our front, what we call bluegrass. The front, this is where we're going to build the house here. And the solar array is going to be back here on this hill. Just as a point of reference, if you look back, there's the barn, right? And the shed and the little farmhouse. Anyway, now that what you just saw is actually light compared to what is behind the barn. They have really torn up the pasture back there, and also what we call the long branch, which is actually over this way along this ridge. It loops around and comes back around the barn like that. Oh, they tore that area up too. So you may have noticed in some of the videos that I've changed the pistol that I carry. Normally, the only reason we carry a pistol, either L or I, is because we do have an issue with coyotes. And with little Saber, you know, he's only 17 pounds. We just want to, you know, have the ability. And also some of sort of, I can't say they're feral dogs. Well, I guess they are. There are a couple hunting dogs that have collars on them. We don't really worry about them too much, but there are also some other sort of, you know, you can't really call them wild dogs, but anyway, undocumented dogs, we'll use that. And they don't usually come around while we're here, but I see them on the cameras when we're not here, and there's like sort of a pack of them. So anyway, you know, just because it doesn't cost us anything, we will carry usually Glock 43s, 9mm, just, you know, just a bit more scare them off than anything else, if we need to. So now, though, you may have noticed that I have my hunting rig on, and that is, in this instance, that is a 475 line ball. I'll actually show you real quick, just for those who might be interested. The 475 line ball is a huge caliber handgun right there. It is a single action made by Freedom Arms, who sort of focused on, well, originally sort of focused with Dick Casole on the 454 Casole and big bore pistols. Anyway, they're sort of built like a bank vault, really great quality pistols. The 475 line ball is a large caliber. In fact, I think back in the day, Ross Seyfried, who I was sort of a pen pal with for a bit during the late 80s, early 90s, when I got into the 454 Casole that I also have from Freedom Arms. Anyway, make a long story short, I believe he took an elephant with this 475 line ball. It's 420 grains, and I believe about 1,270 feet per second. Maybe, I believe, off the top of my head, I believe that was the... of course, you can change that. We do reloading, so you can vary that. But certainly that will kill a hog. So that's why you see, you know, me, or will see me with this larger caliber handgun and wonder if I'm crazy or not. It's just simply because of the hogs. I've got to eradicate them all. I mean, I can't, they all got to go. They will tear everything up. We just can't afford to have them here. Particularly when we're going to get into the animals and the gardens and everything. Yeah, you know, it's interesting because for like the last 5 years, the neighbors and stuff said they hadn't seen any. And then all of a sudden this year, not only did we see some, well, Keith, who originally was the owner of this property, said he saw them and said, hey, you know, have you guys seen anything around? And we hadn't. And then our next door neighbor, Todd, their Anatolia shepherds got a hold of a piglet. And they weren't sure. It was pretty small, so they weren't sure whether it was a, you know, like a hog that had just escaped, like a piglet that had escaped, or whether it was something like wild boar or feral hogs. Well, then, a short time after, his big male Anatolia shepherd, who's probably about 150 pounds, came to him in the morning one morning and had a huge gash on the side of him. Had to require surgery and everything. It was a really deep laceration. He wasn't sure what he had gotten hold of. But now he thinks that it's actually the tusk from a wild boar that cut him open. So you can see they can be pretty aggressive and pretty dangerous. And with our dogs, 45 pounds and 17 pounds, that's just not an option. And then, of course, the damage that they're doing. So what I'll do is I'll keep walking up here and I'll go past the barn, and then I'll show you real quick what they've done to the other hillside up here. Yeah, so here we are behind in the pasture behind the barn, and all of this hog action, and it actually goes right around the hill up here. For some reason they sort of left this little area open, and then they did get up in here as well, but they really got on the back side of this again. Yeah, so it's amazing how destructive they are. Yeah, you can see. All right, so maybe I'll walk over to the Long Branch and just give you a quick shot there too. Yeah, so here we are over on the Long Branch. You can see sort of why we call it that. It's just like a long stretch there. You can see what the hogs have done here, then going down the hill in here, and actually up in all along this area as well. So they are sort of tearing us up. But that's just one more little issue to deal with on the farm. All right, let's get to other things. Hope you guys are having a great morning.